Good morning, dear students. We already discussed morphology, what is morphology, and morphemes and its classification. Anyway, today we are going to study a branch of linguistics known as Morpho Phonology. Morpho Phonology, or also it's known as Morpho Phonemics. It's a branch of linguistics that studies the interaction between morphological and phonological or phonemic processes. And its chief focus is the sound changes that take place in morphemes when they combine to form words. We already know that morphology, we studied what is morphology. It's a branch of linguistics and it studies about the formation of words. And this morphophonemics, it's also a branch of linguistics that studies the interaction between morphological and phonological or phonetic processes. And I already told you its chief focus is the sound changes that take place in morphemes when they combine to form words. Or in other words, it may be defined as analysis and classification of the phonological factors which affect the pronunciation of morphemes, or correspondingly the morphological factors which affect the appearance of phonemes. Or in other words, morphological analysis or morphophonology often involves an attempt to give a series of formal rules that successfully predict the regular sound changes occurring in the morphemes of a given language. Sound changes occurring in the morphemes of a given language. Or in other words, very simply, in morphophonemics, we basically study interaction between morphological and phonological processes. Or in other words, very simply, we basically study in morphophonemics, we basically study interaction between morphological and phonological processes and how these factors affect each other. Okay, in this morphophonology, today we are going to study two types of this morphophonological analysis named as assimilation and elision. Assimilation and elision. First we are going to study assimilation. It's a sound change where some phonemes change to be more similar to nearby sound. And it's a common type of phonological processes across languages. It's a common type of phonological processes across languages. And assimilation can occur either within a word or between words. Within a word or between words. I already told you it's a sound change where some phoneme change to be more similar to other nearby sound. And it may occur within a word or between words. And it occurs in normal speech and it becomes more common in more rapid speech. It's more common in more rapid speech. That is, in connected speech, the precise phonetic quality of a sound segment is affected by the sounds that precede or succeed. The adjacent sound influence each other so that they become more alike or assimilate. The adjacent sounds influence each other so that they become more alike or assimilate. This process is known as assimilation. That is, the way in which sound belonging to one word cause changes in sound belonging to the neighboring word is called assimilation. In other words, it's a process in which a sound changes more like an adjacent sound. For example, handbag. This particular word, handbag, while transcribing this word, we'll do like this. Handbag. Handbag. But it's often pronounced as, in rapid speech, it's often pronounced as handbag. It's often, in rapid speech, it's often pronounced as handbag rather than handbag. It is because of the influence of the nearby sound. I'll explain it to you. This is because the m sound and b sound, this m and b both are bilabial consonants. You might have studied it in phonology, all the consonants, vowel sounds, everything, and we know that this m sound and b sound, these both sounds are bilabial consonants, and their place of articulation, while pronouncing this, their place of articulation are similar. Both are similar. Its place of articulation, bilabial sounds, m, b, while pronouncing its place of articulation, it's both are and similar. Whereas the sequence, this d and b sound, this sequence has different places but similar manner of articulation. It's different, its place of articulation, different places but similar manner of articulation, that is voiced stop, and in sometimes assimilated to m before the b. So it's because these sounds both are bilabial consonants. It's while pronouncing this, both of these sounds place of articulation is similar, that is similar, place of articulation similar. But in this case, even though they are manner of articulation of these two sounds are similar, but place of articulation is different and is sometimes assimilated to m before the b sound. That is why with the influence of this sound, particular b sound, this d change into m while pronouncing it rapidly. This process is known as assimilation. That is, with the influence of the other sound, certain sound changes into nearby sound. Even though in rapid speech it causes like this, handbag, but in common speech we use these two, handbag and handbag. It's common in normal speech. Then another example of assimilation is big cat. While transcribing this, we'll write like this, big cat, big cat. So this particular word in rapid speech we'll pronounce as big cat, big cat, big cat. So this sound changes into this k with the influence of this k sound. So this process is known as assimilation. I think it's clear for you. Another example, newspaper. Newspaper. This newspaper, in rapid speech, it changed into newspaper. So with the influence of this z sound change into s. This process of sound changes is known as assimilation. And it's of two types. This assimilation, it's of two types. That is regressive assimilation and progressive assimilation. First one, regressive assimilation. It's of two types, regressive assimilation and progressive assimilation. Regressive assimilation. First one, regressive assimilation. Regressive assimilation. If the features of a phoneme affect the phoneme preceding it, it's called regressive assimilation. If the features of a phoneme affect the phoneme preceding it, it's called regressive assimilation. For example, 10 bikes. 10 bikes. It's pronounced as 10 bikes in rapid speech. 10 bikes. It's pronounced as 10 bikes in rapid speech. That is, with the influence of this b sound, this n sound changed into m. That is, it's the phoneme affect the phoneme preceding it. This is known as regressive assimilation. And the next one is progressive assimilation. Progressive assimilation. It's just the opposite of the other one. That is, if the features of a phoneme affect the phoneme following it, then it's known as progressive assimilation. For example, lunch school. Lunch school. It's pronounced as lunch score. It's pronounced as lunch score in rapid speech. Lunch score in rapid speech. That is, the features of a phoneme affect the phoneme following it. This influence of this sound changed this into sh sound. These are the two types of assimilation. Okay, it's clear? Assimilation. Next, we have to study elision. Another phoneme changes, that is elision. Elision, it may be described as the omission of word segment. It may be described as the omission of word segment. In assimilation, we already studied the influence of one phoneme changes the another nearby phoneme. That is assimilation. In elision, it's the process in which the omission of a sound segment which would be present in the pronunciation of a word, in isolation. For example, the word friendship which is pronounced friendship in isolation, which is pronounced friendship, in isolation may be heard friendship. In rapid speech. Here, the omission of this d sound. This process is known as elision. Friendship. In rapid speech, we could hear this way only, that is friendship, not friendship. So, this process, omission of a sound, it's known as elision. This phonetic process is called elision. It's dropping of a sound which exists in a word uttered in isolation or in connected speech. Another example, old man. It's pronounced as old. It's pronounced as old man. The omission of d sound. Elision of d sound. Same way, another example, last time. It's last. It's pronounced as last time in connected speech, that is the omission of t sound, last time. This process is known as elision. So, these are the two morpho phonemics that we could see in morphology, that is assimilation and elision. It's a branch of linguistics that deals with or studies the interaction between morphological and phonological or phonetic processes.